What up, guys? It's your boy coming back with another video. Right now we're running eastbound, down, I don't know, 69, headed over to Flint, and then down, we gotta go to Virginia. Hopefully, we should be home tomorrow. We'll see how it goes, but that's the plan, and then reset Monday. So, I get a lot of questions on rates, and I hear a lot of people talking about price per mile. And you guys know how I feel
New text message
about price per mile. Yes, it's important, but it's not the end-all be-all. So you can either go mileage, you can go daily cost, or you can do a little bit of both. But how do I set my rates? How do I come up with the numbers I come up with? Well, just like any other business, there's a lot of things that come into play that I factor in. Okay, now the way I do this works for me because I don't run 50, 75, 100 mile cars. And if I do, they pay so well that it's okay. But I don't do it because my rates are so high. And it's okay. I don't want to do them anyway. So I have a minimum for my truck on what I need to make. Because my truck, to me, is worth 100 to 125 an hour. I will go with 100 an hour and I'll be okay with it. But I have a minimum of 3 hours. So I don't take cars under 300 bucks. I don't care if they're backhauls, if they're, going 5 miles, 10 miles, 20. I don't care. 300 bucks, bare minimum. And now you're gonna say, well, Hotshot, how'd you come up with that number? Just pulled it out of the air, and you're making up more stuff and blah 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 with your gibberish. With your jibby. No, really don't. So it takes usually about an hour. If I have cars on the trailer, it takes about an hour to load usually. A half hour to an hour. And then you've got to drive. You've got to deal with traffic. You've got to deal with life-on-life terms. So that's minimum half hour to an hour. It could take me, a half hour to go 15 miles, 20 miles. It could take hours to go 30, 40, 50, 60 miles. Not 1 hour, hours. And then you've got your drop-off. You've got to put your stuff away. You've got your paperwork time. And so most moves take me 3 hours per car. God forbid if I got 2 heavies and, one of them's the last one on the trailer, well, now stuff needs rearranged. So $300 works for me. But now, if I had to be home every day, I probably couldn't do that. And I'm not going to do a 500, 450, 550. Not really going to do, I may do a 400 mile for it, but I don't do many $300 cars. Just because I like to strap up and roll. I have one on right now that's 350 bucks. And that's because I'm going to the pickup and to the drop-off. I'm already picking up in Flint. I'm already going to Virginia. Like, they're about 5 miles apart on both sides. So, guys, when you make these rates, you have to make sure they equal something. You don't just pull them out of your mind. Because if a $300 minimum is just a number, then there's no real incentive to keep that number. You know, because then, oh, well, this one's $250, that'd be okay. This one's $225, that'd be okay. You're like, no, it takes me 3 hours, it takes me $300. Or it costs you $300, I'm sorry. And now, if everybody was on this page, the board would be so much different. So much different. And I have a 5-car right now, so it does take me a little longer. But I did this even with the 3-car wedge. And the 3-car was even worse because every car that comes on or off, it needs rearranged. Because you can't put a truck in a number 1 and roll on. You can't put a Tahoe or a big car up there and just roll on. You know, you've got to rearrange and move stuff. So I use the daily rate a lot, and it works for me, you know, because then I do look at how many miles I drive a week, you know, but it doesn't matter enough to where, oh, I need $3 a mile. I've never told a customer I need X per mile. I tell them, hey, I need this. I need that. You know, because when you go mileage, let's say I tell you I need $1.25 a mile, right? So I'm using Trucker's GPS. You're using Google Maps that takes you the shortest possible route with, you know, going through the tolls, going through the no truck routes. That's what they're using. And now you're a thief. And now you're lying because the numbers don't match up. But if I tell you I need 400, you don't know what 400 means to argue or try to save money that way. Because at $1.75, $2 a mile that you tell them, you're overcharging. You're exaggerating. So that's what works for me, and I do very well with it. And that's what it comes down to in trucking. Yeah, your equipment is important. You know, you need decent equipment. But if you're not charging correctly, it doesn't matter what you have. So now let's talk about the most confusing part of car hauling. Of booking load, building load, dispatching loads. I got a car from Grand Haven, Michigan, going to Columbus, Ohio. Paying $1.25 a mile. I get a car from Flint or Grand Haven, Michigan, going to Virginia. 75 cents a mile. Am I at $2 a mile? I'm not. Because that Grand Haven to Ohio at $1.25 doesn't cover the full trip. So when you break it down, you're probably right around $1.20, $1.30 ish, you know. And I didn't do the math or none of that to actually figure it out. But this running cars is just like running partials, and that's why I teach my mentees the way I teach dispatching. And the way I show them and teach them to dispatch is unordinate. It's not the norm. Most people don't want to put the work in that I put in. You know, and that's what it comes down to. You know, are you willing to work for the money? Is your math correct? Numbers don't lie. And that example I just gave you is exactly why I go by a daily rate. Because Grand Haven to Virginia, I'm going to Woodbridge, is 12 hours. So I know that's a day and a half. We load, unload, it's a day and a half. So I need 1,500 total. 1,700. Alright, so I just did the math just to make this easier for you guys to understand. So Woodbridge, Virginia, from Grand Haven is 700 miles. At 75 cents a mile, it's $5.50. Grand Haven to Toledo is 218 miles. So at 125, I think it came out to like right around 282. It takes you 3 hours to get to Toledo just driving. But at 700 miles, even though I've got $1.25 a mile load, and I've got a 75-cent a mile load, I'm at right around 800 on the full load on the two cars. So I can't run that 700 miles and be profitable. So I need a car that's paying another $700 bucks. Well, from Grand Haven to Virginia, Woodbridge, $700 cars are very, very, matter of fact, they're not very rare. They're almost non-existent. I think the biggest one I've seen on the board was 6 to 650. Now there's a fire truck that weighs 34,000 pounds, weighing 1,200. Well, that's a big truck rate. And a big truck's not running that. So you've got to really be on your numbers. You've got to break it down correctly. You can't just go 125 plus 75, I'm at $2, I'm rocking out. No, because I just showed you how you're at $1.05 a mile. So now if you're building on a daily rate, you know what you need. You need 3 $500 cars. You get $550, you get $650, you're cool. And I'm basing this on 3 cars. So you can't run the short hops without running another short hop because you lose out on it. So I hope this makes sense. I know it's kind of like all over the place and it's hard to put this stuff in a video that everybody understands. You know, and that's why I have the mentorship, because, you know, I can sit with that person and I can talk to them and explain that to them. They can write notes. I can be on the phone on Central with them, figuring it out together. So, guys, when you're building your rates, make sure you're looking at the big picture. And don't just go Grand Haven to Woodbridge. You've got to make sure that those other cars don't add miles. And if they do add miles, you need to adjust your rate for it. I mean, it's simple. That's all there really is to it. So, guys, that's how I get my rates. That's how I come up with what I come up with. And so I'm running from Grand Haven. You got to pick one up in Grand Haven, one in Flint, and one in Flat Rock. I already had a van I got out of Indiana. Look at $2,167. And the full mileage from pickup number 1 to my front door, because I'm going home after it, is $862. So when you're looking at the board and you're doing this, you run your game, you play your game. Don't do what I say, don't do what others say. You figure out your number, your game, your style, and stick to it. Don't worry about that quote-unquote cheap freight. Cheap freight's in the eye of the beholder. You know? I may take a car for 50 cents a mile, and to you it's cheap freight, but to me, it's 100% profit. Because I've already ran for fuel money. I run for fuel money, so one car covers my fuel, and I don't have to worry about nothing else. You know, as long as fuel for the day is covered, nothing else matters. Yeah! Put that in your cereal and eat it. But, alright guys, that's kind of my little rant on rates. You know, only you know what you need to run for. Not only you, if you have a dispatcher, they better know what you need to run for and what your prices are and what your break-even point is. Like if I'm dispatching you, the only thing I need you to tell me is your break-even point. And oh, they're busy today over there. Psych, ain't nobody working. I need your break-even point, and I need you to let me send you wherever I want you to go. And you Gucci Gucci. So, alright guys, we're gonna get on up the road here. Quit talking, quit yapping, flapping my gums. So, alright, like, share, subscribe, hit that ding ding, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace. Oh, go on over, check out Teespring, get you some gear. You know, if you haven't got the ebooks yet, check them out. Oh, that was just snow. But, alright guys, we outie. May or may not see you tonight, I don't know. I'm on a time crunch because I've been offered a bonus to get it done in a timely manner. So, we're going to see how this rolls. But, alright guys, we're out. I'll talk at you tomorrow. Peace.